It's the battle of the 5 and 8s. The 5 and 8 Pittsburgh Pirates come to Cincinnati to take on the 5 and 8 Cincinnati Reds. I said to temper expectations. I said it.
You did.
I said it this year. I said I wasn't going to say they were going to the World Series. I said that. But it still hurts the way that this season's played out. And I don't know who to really blame for it. My finger always points at the front office. But you can point at Terry Francona. You can point at our outfield. You can point at just about everybody except for the pitching staff. You can't touch any of them. Maybe Ian Jabot.
Funny enough, top 2 pitchers in NL WAR, Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
1.1 WAR for Hunter Green through 3 starts.
And it's those type of performances by some of our best players that makes it all the more frustrating. Because if they were bad, like if Hunter Green had like a 5 ERA, Nick Lodolo was rocking a 4.9, and we just weren't competitive. They ranked like 20th and start in ERA, 21st in WHIP. If they were genuinely bad, I wouldn't have an issue. I wouldn't have an issue with where this team is. I would be sad, I'd be angry, I'd be frustrated, but I wouldn't be disappointed. I'm disappointed. That's the feeling I have right now. And we come into a series, it's a pretty big one. It's, I'm not going to say that it's a must win, but it's certainly a please don't lose. It's not a must win, it's not a can't lose, it's please don't lose.
I think this series is going to tell us a lot about this team because this is the first series of the year. I know we're 4 series in, but this is the first series of the year of a team I think in the preseason that we would have said is worse than us.
Yeah.
I think at best we thought, optimistically we were on Milwaukee's level. We were maybe on the Rangers level after they struggled last year. Giants certainly a better team than we are. We're still the only team that's beaten them so far this year. They're one of the best teams in all of baseball, at least to start. So having a chance here in your first series against the Pirates to prove that a team that's really had your number for the last few years, we're taking a step here. We've struggled to start this year, but we're coming home. We're playing, a divisional opponent at home. We're going to prove that we aren't the worst team in this division because that's where we're at right now. These 2 teams are last in the NL Central with the same record, and at the end of this series, one of them will be there alone. And I really hope it's not the Reds.
But the craziest thing, one isn't like the other. The Pittsburgh Pirates, I can't tell you how poor of an organization that is.
They're the same as us.
They're the same as the Reds. The difference is they beat us in 2013 in that BS wildcard game. Cueto. That's the difference between these 2 franchises over the last 25 years. So I guess credit to them. Kudos to them. You got that one. But they're bad, man. It was the first year they signed, I forget what the stat was. They signed like a contract extension. It was a record contract extension for the first time in like the 50 millions or something over like 10 years. I don't know what that contract was, and sorry for not having the number right in front of me. But these 2 teams, I'm going to read some of these stats and just listen to how different they are pitching staff-wise. The Cincinnati Reds pitching staff, they're 4th in Major League Baseball in team ERA. They're 3rd in batting average against, and with a 0.98, they rank 1st in Major League Baseball in WHIP, walks plus hits per inning. 1st in Major League Baseball, 0.98 as a team this season for the Reds pitching staff. The Pittsburgh Pirates pitching staff, 21st in ERA, 23rd in batting average against, 20th in WHIP.
Yeah.
This is where they get similar. The Reds, 26th in batting average, they're hitting .206. The Reds rank dead last in OBP, 267. They're 17th in runs somehow. It's only because 2 games they scored 30. Right. 16th in home runs, which shocked me. They have 12 home runs. That ranks 16th in Major League Baseball. They're 25th in slugging percentage. 25th in slugging percentage, dead last in OBP. The Pittsburgh Pirates offensive numbers. They rank dead last in average. They're hitting a .198 as a team. A .198 as a team. I listed all those stats yesterday for the Reds and how bad the Reds offense was. They're worse by a wide margin.
Yeah.
24th in OBP, 18th in runs scored, 3 behind us, and 26th in home runs with 8. 29th in slugging percentage as well. They don't hit the ball.
Right. Neither do we sometimes, though.
If our pitching staff shows up like they've showed up the past 2 weeks, the Reds honestly should win these games in shutout fashion. I know you can't expect shutouts every night, but this shouldn't be a competitive series.
I agree.
If the Cincinnati Reds bats show even a little bit of promise, this series will not be close.
We missed Paul Skeens as well, which is big.
It should be a sweep. I mean, I'm going to say it should be a sweep. The Pirates aren't good. You avoid their best pitcher, maybe the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. We're playing a guy tonight who's got an 8 ERA. If you just show up a little bit, you're going to win this series. So my question for you, Jacob, is if the Reds were to lose this series, and we'll go into the worst case scenario first. Okay. They lose this series at home to a Pittsburgh Pirates team who I just mentioned, atrocious.
Correct.
What does that do for you going forward with the Reds?
Makes it really tough to, think about going to the ballpark on either Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday against Seattle. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I legitimately think, and it's crazy to say 13 games into the season, for fan vibe and, just the city in general getting back to where we were, in the 6th and 7th inning of opening day before, it came crumbling down, getting back to those vibes, getting back to that belief in this team, I think you have to win this series. And I know you asked what the thought process is if you lose, but I don't think you can lose. And you can't have a must-win series this early in a 162-game season. I understand that. But if you turn around and you drop 2 out of 3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates here, I mean, we had 10,000 people at that first Rangers game after losing the opening series to the Giants. I guarantee you it'll be lower than that for the Mariners if we lose this series. So you're going to lose the very, little part of this fan base that's still all the way in on this team. You're going to lose, a chunk of that. So, it doesn't have to be the most exciting win. It certainly would be nice, but even squeaking out another 2-0, 1-0 win, you got to just stack wins. You have to win this series. And quite honestly, you got to win the next one. And, we'll see what happens after that. But if this Reds team, keeps trading 2 series losses for a series win, all these, uneven trades it seems this team makes in the record book, they're not ever going to get to a point where we have faith in them to make a run. And I think that's where we're at, and it's a shame we're there this early in the season. If you lose to the Pirates, I think most of us just start scratching our head and saying, are we the Pirates?
Yeah.
Are we that 25 to 30 range team in the MLB? Should we be thinking about next year already? And I think that's such a painful place to be, especially after we thought last year was the year and it was taken away from us with injuries. And then this year, Terry Francona was supposed to turn it all around, and certainly, I know we're going to get into it here in a little bit, but has been I don't want to say a negative for the Reds, but I don't know what else you call it at this point. So it certainly has been about as frustrating as 13 games can be to start this year for the Reds. And you have a 3-game series at home against a division rival. The city of Cincinnati hates the city of Pittsburgh in sports.
Correct.
That's just how it works. So this lines up very, very well. If you can get 3 wins and get a sweep, or even win 2 out of 3 and win the series in even a remotely exciting fashion on the weekend against Pittsburgh, I think it'll reinvigorate this fan base maybe more than it should in terms of how it affects the odds of this team actually having success this year. But winning this series, I think it's massive for how much fans are going to be in on this team for the near future.
And it doesn't mean the world. This isn't the series that's going to change the course of the season. You're playing a bad team at home. It's more simple than that. Just win 2 or 3 at least. Yeah. I think there's a chance for a sweep. By the way, you mentioned fans of the ballpark. I believe it's shaping up for a potential Nick Lodolo versus Luis Castillo.
Wow.
Tuesday night game.
$3 beers for Nick Lodolo, Luis Castillo.
I believe that's what it's shaping up to be.
Wow.
But you mentioned the upcoming schedule, and it's the ailing Orioles are after the Mariners. So you got 3 games with the Mariners at home after this. You go onto the road to Baltimore. 3 games there. You got 3 games with the Marlins, 3 games with the Rockies in Colorado. Tough place to play. You got a Cardinals team that can't play baseball for 4 games at home, and then a Nationals series at home. There are so many winnable games coming up that if you don't take advantage now, you're not going to have a chance later on, because it does get tough. I mean, it's going to get tough relatively soon. You know, there's a stretch where I think this is in late May. The Reds go Cubs, Royals, Cubs, Brewers, Diamondbacks, Tigers. You know, I think if there was ever an easy portion of a Major League Baseball schedule, it's right now for the Cincinnati Reds. It's all in front of them.
Absolutely.
It's all in front of them. You take advantage now. Again, tonight, Bailey Falter has an 8-point-something ERA. He's taken against, I guess, our number 3. I'll call him our number 3,
yep.
Brady Singer. Brady Singer's been phenomenal. Starts with tonight. You win tonight. You win tomorrow. Hunter Green's on Sunday, so I'd like to win that one too.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's just the method for success. And by the way, you sweep them, you're 500, and it feels like a new team, at least at that point. So we'll see. It doesn't mean the world, but it does certainly help a lot going forward for the Cincinnati Reds.
You
I'm hoping
mentioned
they're able to
how
do
big this stretch is for them. Obviously, you have to stack some wins. Got some good news last night that Austin Hays is sent to AAA Louisville for his rehab assignment. So hopefully he'll be back in the mix soon. How much do you expect him to help this team when he does get back from Louisville? And are you worried at all that it feels like we're putting a lot of pressure on him to be the savior for this Reds lineup? And we've seen this story before. I mean, Will Benson, when he was killing it in AAA, we thought he was going to save this lineup. Comes up first game, 0-for-4, 4 strikeouts. Last year we were talking about Mike Ford in AAA coming up to save this team. You know, and he certainly never did. We haven't had one of these, save the team guys in a while, since McClain came up and did what he did in 23, since Ellie came up and reinvigorated this fan base like he did when he debuted. It just feels like Austin Hays is falling in that category of, it's a 1-year, $5 million deal. That's a fine outfield bat to take a bargain on. It's not a guy that's going to, turn your entire season around, and that seems like where a lot of Reds fans are right now. So what are your expectations for Hays once he gets through this rehab assignment?
And again, I don't mean to be negative the whole time. I don't think Austin Hays can fix these problems the same way I don't think Gavin Lux could fix the problems. There's too many issues right now with the quote-unquote core. Tyler Stephenson's gone for God knows how long. Matt McClain's gone for God knows how long. You have CES, who, again, young, sure. Is he young? He's not putting together great at-bats. He's hitting 170. You have Spencer Steer, who's hurt and not good right now. And it's just, you stack all of them together, and you look at the bench, and it's like Jacob Hurtubise and Blake Dunn and Noelvi Marte and Will Benson, they're on the roster too. It's like there's no semblance of an offense here yet. It's early, mind you. Austin Hays on the Dodgers would be a great fourth outfielder. A great fourth outfielder. For the Cincinnati Reds, he has to be outfielder number 1.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. And I don't think Austin Hays, it's no disrespect on him, he's not that player. He's not the savior of a team. He can make an impact. He can make a significant impact, an upgrade. In fact, anybody would be an upgrade. Literally anybody in the outfield would be an upgrade over what we've got going on. But I'm not going to sit here and expect Austin Hays to change the world. I'm not going to do that. I think he's a great baseball player. I think getting him for $5 million is a steal. The Reds did a good job bringing him here. But there's too many issues. There's too many issues with the offense to sit here and say that Austin Hays is going to fix anything. I mean, hell, when he comes up, I guess, where does he hit? 3? He hits 4?
He was supposed to be cleanup before he got hurt.
So I'm gonna again temper your expectations with Austin Hays. I'm not gonna sit here and expect the world. Jake Fraley, clearly, I love him respectfully, does not have it anymore. Will Benson, it's early to say on Will Benson, but I'm not gonna sit here and expect Will Benson to hit 25 home runs a season and be a competitive baseball player offensively. Austin Hays, I think, can be better than both those two guys and at least give the Reds some semblance of consistency. That's what the Reds have been missing for 3 years now, is consistency at the plate. I don't think he's the world's best player, but I think he's consistent, and that's what you're going to get out of him. And hopefully the other guys come around. If you want to believe into the narrative that it's early and the season's still young and the whole world's ahead of us, that's great, and you're not wrong, because it is. There's a lot of baseball left to play. We're not even, I don't know, what, 10% of the season. Yeah. I always see the fun stats where it's like if you correlated where you are in the MLB season to to the NFL season,
first
you're
quarter of
you're in the third
week
quarter
2, yeah.
of game 1.
Yeah.
You know? That's like where the Reds are right now. So it is early. But some of these guys just got to be better. Austin Hays, I don't expect too much out of him. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Maybe he comes up and he's a superstar. Maybe he's an all-star like he was a few years ago.
The closest thing we're going to have to savior this year is Tyler Stephenson. I don't think this team's going to go out and get some kind of addition of a guy that's going to be, a stud for this major league lineup right away. I don't think Luis Robert trade is coming imminently. And the best bat certainly on this team, maybe outside of Ellie De La Cruz and Matt McClain, third best bat on this team is Tyler Stephenson. So getting him back is going to be a huge, huge, huge boost to this team. But also, I don't know how much excitement there is from Reds fans to put him back in this lineup, because we feel like we've seen that lineup before, right? We've seen this lineup with the addition of Tyler Stephenson. Even though he is a better player than Austin Hays offensively, I think that's why a lot of people are holding on to Austin Hays. It's just the new toy. And, you put Tyler Stephenson in there. We saw a team with Tyler Stephenson as the primary catcher not even come close to the playoffs last year. We haven't seen, the Reds with some of these other guys. So maybe that optimism is just, what you haven't seen before. Maybe a change of scenery can really push a team over the edge. I don't know. But I do think the biggest thing we should be looking out for the Reds and what's going to cause the biggest swing in this season is any update on Tyler Stephenson. Whether that's pushing back the timeline, giving us a timeline, or if he, if we're lucky enough that he comes back and plays relatively soon, that's going to be the move that helps the Reds the most this season, I think.
I'm hoping the Reds improve. I'm hoping they get better, because it's hard to be this bad offensively all year long. But it is a worry. It's a concern when you're missing guys left and right. So hopefully we get some news on Tyler Stephenson.